Namaste everybody. I'm going to continue with the I AM Discourses, Discourse VI. I'm going to continue where we left off. You are not dependent on the outer things, with the joyous entering into this mighty power and presence which contains all. Do you not see how you would be provided for if everything was cut loose? I want you to feel joyously accept and with all your being know that the power of precipitation is no myth, it is real. Those who enter into this feeling deep enough will have the precipitation of anything they want. Children have been chastised for seeing angelic beings and for manifesting an inner precipitant. It is the parent of the child who should be chastised, as well as that for daring to interfere with the God-given freedom of that child. True. If grown-ups would live more in the conscious imagining and acceptance of these mighty and great presences, of whose very existence most humanity doubts, they would feel their presence and uplifting, sustaining intelligence. My beloved ones, if suddenly we find ourselves needing courage or strength, I am there surging forth, supplying this instantly. If I need harmony in my mind or body, then I am there supplying it instantly, and I do not need to wait. Do not give a thought to the world or individuals who do not understand these things. Go right on rejoicing in the visible active presence precipitated into your life, and use whatever you wish. Your outer common sense, so-called, must tell us that unless we accept and rejoice in the presence of the thing we want, how in the name of God can we expect to have it? The poor insignificant outer self struts itself about saying, I am too important to give attention to these childlike fairy stories. Well, let me say to you that one day the individuals who say this will be only too glad to listen to those fairy stories and fill their minds with those ideas that they may come forth. In every instance, in the outer contact of the world of business, whenever there is a negative condition that seems to touch the world in any way, instantly take your firm stand. I am the precipitation and visible presence of whatever I desire, and no man can interfere with it. This is a mighty truth. When I speak of precipitation in this manner, I do not only mean through the invisible, but through any channel, for all is a precipitation. It is only a little different in activity. When I recognize who I am, then I have entered into the great silence, wherein is God's greatest activity. The great silence is also the void, by the way, where every single thing is manifested. To continue, this recognition should bring great revelations to individual if he or she holds to it with joyous acceptance. In our outer experience, the use of any activity develops your strength to a greater and greater efficiency, does it not? If one can apply this in the outer activity, do you not see how much more important it is to the inner activity? The more you can put it into the use, the greater the power you put into it. Know you can do it with the inner spiritual things far greater than and quicker than in the things for which spirit the power acts instantly. There is no waiting when the I am acts. The fact that you give credence to development of the muscular system by use should make you realize that the same effort given to the exercise and recognition of the inner power would naturally produce far greater results. For instance, man is supposed to perform certain physical exercises in order to develop his muscles. I have in my students many times enabled them to produce powerful muscles in symmetrical, beautiful body without having taken a single exercise to do it. It is the same with the exercise of your inner faculties in bringing forth the inner power. In all development, either of the inner or the outer, the first part of the exercise is mental. Here, we must know that there is only one power of energy to use, and that is from the I am God presence in you. Therefore, the exercise of your inner faculties is necessarily mental. called mental, but I say to you, it is God in action, because you cannot form a thought without the intelligence of energy of God to do it. I'm being shown to interject and to show you that this is the law of mentalism. The law of mentalism. It's one of the Hermetic principles, but this goes back way before Hermes was even here. This is a timeless law set into the fabric of the universe, basically. The law of mentalism states that everything is a mental creation of God. Everything. So the God in you can create anything that the God that we think of as God can create, because you are God. Okay. To continue. Therefore, your mental activity is the energy of God in action. Now you see how easy and possible it is to make a strong physical body without lifting your hand in physical exercise to do it. Most scientific, medical, and men of physical culture will deny this, but I assure you it is only because they have not become aware of or thought deeply upon the energy or power that is acting, because no kind of activity can take place except by the use of this inner energy and power. Individuals allow the impingement of doubts and fears to rush in and overwhelm them when it comes to the recognition of these great faculties, which are free for their use at any time. You see, they are but submerged, as it were, by the outer, like a cork that has been pushed beneath the water, which, when released by a little effort, pops up to the surface into use. I must say it is positively pitiful when earnest students spend so many years straining at intervals to gain the use of these faculties, and then, because they do not operate immediately, relapse into a state of inactivity until something spurs them on, and then relapse again. Persistent determination, recognition of this I am presence will take you through anything to absolute certain accomplishment, unless you lay down on the job. I see, especially at this time, a godly number of individuals who, with a little encouragement and description of the simple use of these faculties, will quickly leap into their freedom, and especially those who have this verbal instruction and the radiation that goes with it. It is not appalling that the sons and daughters of God will submit to the binding claims of limitation, when with persistent effort and determination they would open the door and step through into this great inner chamber, filled with such dazzling light, jewels, gold, and substance from which every kind of food in the universe can be precipitated. Then, with this truth plainly before them, these individuals still hesitate through unbelief to step through, take the scepter, and be free. Beloved ones, again I say to you, sing the great melody of the I am conquering presence. Sing it in your hearts continuously. Feel it with all your ability. Be determined to use it. Hold fast to that determination, and the knowledge and the way will steadily open to give you the mastery which is your eternal freedom. Just keep joyously knowing that you are through the veil now. Whatever mastery the individual has gained over himself or herself, his or her affairs, or his or her world, is always and should be a sacred chamber, an inner sanctuary upon which no outer inquiring individual may intrude. No one may attain mastery through the desire of the outer to find the mastery within another. To seek, find, and apply the law of one's own being is the student's sure road to mastery, and only when the individual has attained it himself or herself may he or she really understand what true mastery is. There is only one mastery to be sought, and that is over one's own outer self. One might walk beside a master for years and not discover it until his or her own faculties reveal their fact. One might live in the same house with a master for years and not know it until some crisis arose to be handled, and thus the real power be revealed. For a master to discuss or disclose his own attainment of mastery would be to dissipate his own forces, and may not be done at any time. If a student be fortunate enough to have a beautiful experience and then discuss it with others, there is usually so much doubt poured at him that he soon begins to doubt himself. It is really funny how the convincing someone else's argument can be. If a student will listen to the argument of someone else, why not be at least as fair to his own God self and listen to its power and good as expressed through the inner experience? The moment doubt begins to enter, more doubt rushes in. The same with, I've been shown this, the law of momentum. The law of momentum works by, it's like when you, when a ship's sinking and the water's rushing from one side to the other, to the other, to the other. That's the law of momentum. Or a pendulum. A pendulum is a perfect example of the law of momentum. Once you set something into motion, it continues in motion. It's one of the laws of thermodynamics. So this is science. This isn't just theology or spiritual ideology. This is science. And we're going to be backing up with lots of quantum physics and science the more we go on. The moment doubt begins to enter, the more doubt rushes in. The law of momentum. The same with the I am. If you put your attention upon it, it rushes forth more and more. With the law of momentum, where the conscious attention is fixed, there the energy pours. Dear ones, do you not see when you want something revealed or to be inspired in some way, do you not see I am that? The moment that you say I am, you set in motion this power that has inherent within it all these faculties. It has all substance and must take on whatsoever form the attention of the mind is fixed upon. Where the attention goes, the energy flows. Don't forget. To continue, the I am is fathomless mind of God. In reaching for understanding, the average student is but contacting the recurring memory of that which has been, instead of going to the heart of God and bringing forth that which has never been. Individuals and students many times do not and will not realize that there have been many civilizations of vast attainments which are entirely unknown to the outer world today. Atlantis and Lemuria, or the land of Mu, as credited by a few today, are but fragments of the great civilizations that have been. To do unusual things, the student who wishes to do this take the determined stand. I am the heart of God, and I now bring forth ideas and accomplishments which have never been brought forth before. Consider only, I am that which I wish to bring forth. The I am presence is the heart of God. You are immediately in the great silence, or the void. The moment you say, I am, if you recognize that you are the I am, then whatever you declare is manifest that moment. To believe is to have faith in a thing is true. There is an interlocking of belief and faith in the beginning. A thing is belief, and if held to, it becomes faith. If you do not believe a thing is true, you cannot bring it into manifestation. If you do not believe I am a thing, how can you act for it? The old saying, there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so, is absolute truth. When you know that God's energy comes forth into the individual absolutely pure and perfect, then you must realize that it is the individual who requalifies that energy and imposes his or her own impure quality upon it. This pure God energy is projected forth by the conscious effort of the individual, and he or she must impose some kind of quality upon it, for that is his or her privilege as a creator. Everyone is constantly qualifying this energy, which is pouring forth continually. Each one is continually pouring his or her colour to it through his or her own consciousness. Every activity of the outer that qualifies carries with it the inherent faculty of sound and colour. No activity of any kind can take place which has not sound and colour inherent within it. God's perfection naturally has no discoloration within it. Within the outer faculty which gives quality to a thing is where the discoloration takes place. Every student must take responsibility for his or her own activity in qualifying the energy he or she sends forth. Namaste.